Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm here to talk about my quarterly favorites. This is something I started last year where each quarter I share all of my favorite items from the last quarter in 10 different categories. And I feel like even though this is my 6th time doing this type of video, I still have to look at the 10 categories in my notes. So they are reading, listening, watching, wearing, cooking, planning, pampering, cleaning, doing, and loving. So let's start with reading. This is definitely the hardest category for me to pick my favorites, and the one category that has made me consider going back to monthly favorites, because I could definitely come up with favorite books every single month. But some of these other categories, I'm not sure if I could switch back to monthly favorites. We talked about this recently in a live Lattes with Laken chat about whether I would stick with quarterly favorites or switch back to monthly. I'm gonna think about it a little bit more. This quarter, we're gonna stick with quarterly. So in terms of reading, I'm going to share my favorite fiction and my favorite nonfiction book this quarter. And my favorite fiction was After I Do. And this book was actually recommended to me like over a year ago, maybe even further back than that. I asked for recommendations for books that were specific to my goals. I think it was like prior to 2020. And one of my 2020 goals was about getting married, planning a wedding. Obviously, we have since pushed our wedding back, but still marriage, relationship is a category that I do want to read books and learn more about. And one of the books that someone recommended was After I Do. So I had it in my like relationship wedding category. And then when I was entering all of my books into Goodreads a couple of months ago, I realized that it was actually a fiction book. It wasn't I thought it was like a nonfiction book about marriage. No, it is a fiction book. And the plot sounded so great. And so I decided to go ahead and reserve it at the library. It was available very quickly. I picked it up. I read it in like 3 days because I was just so invested in the characters and the story and what was happening and just the timing of their lives in terms of age. I felt like I really related to the characters, and it was great. So highly recommend if you're looking for an easy fiction, not necessarily light, like the topics that they discuss are not like, it's not like a light, fluffy beach read mystery novel, but it's very valuable and also very entertaining. And then my favorite nonfiction book from this quarter was The Cozy Minimalist Home. This is another book that I just rented from the library. I am not purchasing books this year, so when there is a book that gets recommended to me that I feel like I want to read sooner rather than later, I just put it on hold at the library, and as soon as it's available, that's when I start reading it. And Cozy Minimalist Home was one of those books that will forever change the way that I do something. And since it is decorating our house, I have never been a rug person. Maybe it's my super fluffy cat. Maybe it's the fact that I never had a good vacuum, which we will get to later, that I have always just felt like it's easier for me to clean my hardwood floors here in the city than to deal with rugs. And so I've never really been a rug person. Well, in The Cozy Minimalist Home, she is very much about the rugs. And now we have rugs in 3 of the main rooms in this apartment, and it has just made such a difference. So if you are trying to, you don't even have to be moving. You don't have to be moving or going into a new space. If you are just looking for some decorating advice, maybe to refresh some of the spaces in your home, highly recommend this book. All right, next up is listening, and I have been so excited to tell you about this podcast. So excited. So one of the biggest questions I get a lot is like, what books and podcasts, YouTube channels, etc., do you recommend who talk about goals generally? And truthfully, there are not a ton. That's not maybe true. There are some resources, podcast, books that do talk about goals generally. But my usual advice is to consume content that is related to your specific goals. Podcasts, YouTube videos, books related to whatever specific goal that you're working on. And I still stand behind that advice 100%. But this podcast is about goals in general, and it is fantastic. So the podcast is called All It Takes Is a Goal from Jon Acuff. And I have had some of you actually recommend reading his books. I haven't read them yet. He has books. He has a ton of books. I think he said in one of his podcasts he has like 7. But the 2 that I have on my list to read are Start and Finish. That's it, Start, like the book is named Start and Finish. And then his newest book is called Soundtracks. It's about overthinking. I haven't read any of the books yet, but I have listened to every episode of the podcast. As of the time that I'm filming this video, there are 20 episodes. And so you can easily start from the beginning, and I would recommend starting from the beginning. If you're gonna skip any of them, if you're like, Laken, I have too many podcasts I'm trying to listen to, skip the interview ones. They're not bad. Like the interview episodes are also great, but they're gonna be a lot more specific to whatever that person's life is about. Whereas the episodes that Jon does by himself, they're usually shorter and they're very actionable and very goal focused. So I just I cannot recommend this podcast enough. I think that he just has a really great mindset when it comes to goals. And I will say that, I don't actually think I've shared this anywhere, but one of my goals for this year, kind of like underlying theme, it's not really a goal, is I really wanted to consume less content from white males. I just really wanted to focus in on content that was coming from women or other marginalized groups. That is where I wanted to consume my content from. And so as I pick books this year, I really like keep that in the forefront of my mind. As I follow people on Instagram, I keep that in the forefront of my mind. And so I actually was like, oh, I don't really want to share this podcast because it feels, again, like I'm just sharing another perspective that has been amplified for years and years and years. But again, I think a lot of what he shares is really valuable and really helpful in the goal space. So highly recommend. All right, the next category is watching, and I do try to do a good job of only having one thing in each category. I feel like it keeps it simple and I'm not overwhelming you with a bunch of things. But this is the one category. I actually have 4 things to talk about. So I have 2 TV shows and 2 YouTube channels. The 2 TV shows should not be a surprise to you if you watch any of my vlogs, and that is The Nanny and Superstore. The Nanny is something that I watched years and years ago. I used to watch the reruns all the time. I just love The Nanny, and I have not rewatched it. I didn't even know where you could until I found it on HBO Max since moving to New York. And I just love watching their New York experiences, and obviously a lot of it's probably filmed on a set. They don't do a ton like actually out in the city, but there's still a lot about like what New York living is really like. And I'm obviously way different in their, you know, Upper East Side brownstone, whereas not an apartment, but it's still super fun. And then Superstore is one that Sam convinced me to watch and we started watching together. And I don't know, I know what the resistance was. Everybody compared Superstore to The Office, and I have just never been an Office fan. Don't come at me. I don't know. I've never been able to get into it. And so when everybody kept comparing Superstore to The Office, I was like, well, I don't really like The Office or get into that, so I'm not really gonna like Superstore. Well, finally Sam convinced me to sit down and at least give it a couple of episodes and give it a try, and I am obsessed. I'm obsessed with it. I don't know what it is about the show that I just love so much. It's so great. And what's funny is I've heard Jessica Braun, who I talk about in like every video, mention it for years, and I still have never given it a go. I love it. Highly recommend. Okay, YouTube channels. Both of the channels I'm gonna recommend are food focused. So I found them because I was searching for like Trader Joe's type meals, food, whatever on YouTube. And since we're now back to being Trader Joe's regulars, and that's how I discovered both of them. The first one I'm gonna talk about used to do Weight Watchers, but does not anymore. So she just counts calories. So she will frequently share her calories when she shares her meals. I love that she lives in Texas. She has since moved in with her boyfriend, so now she's cooking for 2. Her YouTube channel name is Louise Lane, or I don't know, I've never actually heard her say it because her name is Lauren, so I don't really know why that's her channel name, but she does a lot of haul videos, what I eat in a day. They both do, like dinner ideas. They're kind of, it's the content for both is the same. The other one is also a couple, they're married. It's Nikki Gets Fit is her channel, so most of the videos are Nikki, but sometimes her husband comes into the videos as well. They both have cumulatively lost a ton of weight together. They are doing Weight Watchers, so if that helps you or deters you, I just wanted to make sure you knew that. She also does a lot of like general Q&A about her weight loss journey that I really appreciate. So if you are looking for some new channels and weight loss or healthy eating is a focus of yours, they don't just do Trader Joe's stuff, by the way, that's just how I discovered them. But if you're in Texas, Lauren does a lot of HEB stuff. I forget where Nikki and her husband live, but I just really have been enjoying both of those channels. All right, the next category is wearing, and I'm laughing because the second that I got this Amazon ad on my Facebook, I was like, this is probably gonna be my favorite clothing item for Q2, and it is a pair of pajamas. So let me rewind. I am down in Texas with my stepmom, and we are shopping, and we go to Soma, which is the place that I highly recommend for bras. I love Soma. And we are shopping, and they're having a sale. She's looking for something specific, and I'm admiring their pajamas. And for a while now, I've really been craving like a matching set of pajamas that's got a pair of shorts and a long sleeve shirt, because that's the combo I like to sleep in. I just wanted something matching. It just felt luxurious to have something that matched, something soft, something comfy. So I was looking at the Soma sets, and they're beautiful, but they are pricey. And I was telling my stepmom, I was like, I love these, and I would love a set of like shorts and long sleeve shirt that goes together, soft, but I'm not gonna pay this. 24 hours later, scrolling through Facebook, and there is an Amazon ad for pajamas, matching set, shorts, long sleeve shirt, 5-star reviews. And I was like, well, good job, Mark Zuckerberg. That's exactly what I want to purchase. Clicked on the ad, chose the pattern that I wanted to buy it in. I will say they did not get the pattern right. The ad that it showed me was not the one I ended up choosing, the color scheme, which when you see the color scheme, you probably will be surprised. Like, of course, that's the one that I would pick. But ordered it, got it, put it on, and was like, sold. This is the best. Now that I've washed it and worn it multiple times, it's a favorite. So here is the clip of my new pajamas that I'm obsessed with. Again, it is a pair of shorts, a long sleeve top. It is very soft. The sleeves are long enough. I ordered it in an extra large. Depending on the store and like what the sizing is, I do sometimes wear a large in clothes, especially in tops, but I knew I wanted it to not be tight. I wanted it to be loose since it's a pair of pajamas. And I'm very glad that I got the extra large, because here is something I'm gonna tell you, and this might deter you, but I just want you to know. The band on the shorts is elastic, but it's not adjustable. So you can't make it tighter or looser. It's not like a string elastic where you can tighten it or loosen it. It's set. And I happen to have like an hourglass figure. So when I wear the shorts on my waist, it's fine. Like the elastic doesn't bother me. But depending on the size that you get and your body shape, the elastic width that's already set might bother you. That's gonna be my only advice, but Amazon has a really great return policy. So if you order them and decide that you don't like them, you can always return them. And again, they came in so many colors, so many color options, so many patterns. I've already ordered another pair, so when these are dirty. I do laundry every day, so like I don't really need a second pair, but like I wanted it. Okay, the next category is cooking, and I've known this one for a while as well, and that is the Trader Joe's peanut butter protein granola. I already was having a yogurt pretty much every day. Ever since I tried to start upping my protein, having a daily yogurt has been one of the ways that I get in extra protein. When I was at Trader Joe's and I was just browsing and looking around, I was over in like the cereal granola section because I was getting oatmeal for Sam, and I saw this peanut butter protein granola, and I just had to have it. And it is so good in vanilla yogurt, so much protein. It's just the best. I have it basically every day. Okay, the next category is planning. And the thing I want to talk about this quarter is something I've actually been doing for multiple quarters now. I just have never talked about it. And that is my whiteboard wall calendars. So I ordered these a while back, way back when we were in our old apartment. I honestly don't remember when I ordered them or like what even sparked it. I think I saw somebody on Instagram have one of those big whiteboard calendars that had, I think she had 4 months on it. And I was like, I would really love to replicate that, but I don't have the perfect wall for it. And then if we move, I won't have, I think it was the fall of last year. What if it doesn't fit in my new apartment? And so that's when somebody recommended to get small whiteboard calendars. That way I can arrange them in my current apartment, and then I would be able to arrange them in my new apartment. And now I cannot live without them. This is how I can see my month at a glance for multiple months out. I can see when I'm gonna be out of town. I can see when I'm filming day in the life. I can see when I am doing the Patreon things. It's just there at a glance. I have it all in my Google Cal. It's all there so that I don't schedule over it, but it's just convenient. And I love looking at it. It keeps me motivated. And then when I'm on a call and someone's like, oh, you know, are you free this date? I can see at a glance if I'm free without really having to pull up my Google Cal. I also love the way that I have them set up in our new apartment. I just hot glued some hot pink ribbon to the back of them, and that's how I hung them. That way they're easy to move around. So when it's a new month, not a new quarter, when it's just a new month, I take off the current month, I just scooch them over, I erase the current month and write the new last month and then hang it up. That way I don't have to rewrite them every month, or I don't have months that have already passed. It's been working out so well, and I just can't believe that I've never talked about them. All right, the next category is pampering, and the item I have to talk about this quarter is just a small, inexpensive item that my friend actually got me from Amazon, but I have been loving it, and that is this little ring cleaning tool. So a friend of mine, one of my bridesmaids, actually also got engaged recently, and so she went to order this on Amazon for herself, and it came in like a 2-pack, and so she gave me the second one, and I just love it. It is such an easy little tool to use. You just squeeze out a little bit of the cleaner stuff and get it wet, and then scrub and clean your ring or whatever piece of jewelry you're trying to clean, and then rinse it off. And it's sparkly and shiny, and it just makes cleaning my ring so easy, and something that I wasn't doing regularly when we first got engaged, but now that I have this easy little tool, I'm cleaning my ring all the time. Okay, the next category is cleaning, and usually I save this category also for any household item that I want to talk about, but this quarter it's actually cleaning, and that is my new vacuum. I finally upgraded our vacuum. I have been using this cheap, like $30 corded, old, like I think I got it at Target when I first moved to the city. Like that vacuum had lasted for a long time. It served me well. But one of the things moving into this new apartment, I wanted to do a good job, if you watch any of my goals video, of cleaning and keeping up with this apartment. And there's obviously a lot more floor space in this apartment than our old apartment. And because of the cozy minimalist home, we were buying a lot of rugs. So it felt like I really needed to upgrade our vacuum. I also really, really wanted a cordless vacuum, because now that there are so many rooms in our old apartment, there was one outlet that if I plugged the vacuum in and the cord was pretty long, I could vacuum the whole apartment without unplugging the vacuum, and it worked well. That is not true in this apartment, partially because of its size and partially because of the way it's set up. There is not one outlet that will clean the entire apartment with the corded vacuum that we had. So I decided to invest in a cordless vacuum. I did not get a super fancy expensive one. It is not inexpensive, like it was more than $30, but it wasn't a Dyson. And I did my research, I read articles and blog posts and Amazon reviews, and I picked one that was like, again, more than 30, but not quite the Dyson, because I just didn't think this was gonna be our forever vacuum. I wanted something that was good for the apartment, that was good temporarily, and then someday when we have a bigger space and or maybe on the wedding registry, we will get a nicer vacuum. But this one works for me. It stays charged as long as I need it to stay charged for. It gets everything up, all of Charlie's hair and all the things. It does a good job, and for the price point, I've just been really happy with it. And so I just wanted to share that it is having a nicer, like stronger, and a cordless vacuum has made my cleaning experience that much better. All right, the next category is doing, and this is the category that I saved for a habit that I've started doing this quarter that has made a huge difference. And this quarter, it's doing my laundry, our laundry, doing the household laundry every single day. I say every single day doesn't mean that there's a load of laundry to wash every day. There's just not. Between two people, even when I consider the sheets and the towels and the rugs and all the things, there's still not necessarily laundry to wash every single day. But I think about it every day and I think, is there something I could wash? And if there is, I do it, and if not, that's okay. But I definitely don't save it to do it every 2 weeks like I used to. And part of that is the way that we're living. You know, we used to live in an apartment that didn't have laundry in it. We would have to go to the basement of our building, and there were 5 industrial washers and dryers for me to do 2 weeks worth of laundry very quickly. Now that we have our own washer and dryer in unit, it's just makes much more sense for me to do it every single day. And I just have come up with a routine. So what I did is I included putting the laundry in as part of my morning routine when like first thing in the morning when I'm in the bathroom. That's where our laundry unit is, it's in the bathroom. So when I'm in the bathroom, like rinsing my face and like waking up in the morning, it's in my routinery app as part of my morning routine. I throw the laundry in. Then after I do my full morning routine and work out, it's part of my routine app to switch the laundry. So then I will switch it from the washer into the dryer. And then when it's dry, whenever it's done, I'll just throw it onto the bed. And then as part of my lunchtime routine, I fold and put away the laundry that was on the bed. And it's just been working. It's been working for us. It's been working for me. Sam doesn't do the laundry, mostly because I don't trust him with my clothes. Let me know if you can relate to that. But it's just a habit this quarter that it's been really working. All right, and then the last category is loving. And this is just a catch-all for one other thing this quarter that I have been loving and want to share with you. And I really wanted to talk about my Peloton in this category. If you don't know, we finally ordered a Peloton bike. It got delivered right after we moved in, and I have been using it, but I haven't been using it as regularly as I want to be using it. And so I don't actually feel like I've fallen in love with it yet. I like it. I like the Peloton. I like doing the workouts. But I wouldn't say that I love it yet. So instead I'm gonna talk about something that I do love, and that is my desktop calendar. This is a newer purchase for me, but it is something that has really helped me a lot with my mindset recently. And so I just wanna share it with you. If it helps you with anything that you feel like, I can't start this because we're already this far into the year, because that's where I was with this. So originally, I put one of those on my wish list for a Secret Santa that I was a part of. My Secret Santa ended up getting me something else that I absolutely love and didn't get me that little calendar. And I was gonna get it for myself, and then I was like, at the time we were still in Chicago, and I was like, well, we're not at home, so like, I'm just not even gonna worry about it. So then I wasn't gonna bother. And then I just kind of forgot about it. And then my friend Nina, she has one that's quotes from inspirational women, and she posts it when she remembers almost every day on her Instagram. And I love seeing them. And so every time I saw hers, I was like, oh, maybe I should get one. And then I was like, well, we're too far into the year. Maybe I should and I would talk myself out of it. I started following somebody new on Instagram, and she has been sharing her daily calendar on her Instagram every single day on Instagram stories. And hers has been motivating me so much that I was like, okay, I need my own. I don't care that it is already April. I want a daily calendar on my desk where I can have a motivational quote sitting there, something that is meant for me for that day. And so I browsed on Amazon to pick one. A lot of them are also discounted because we're already this far into the year. And I debated between a couple different ones. One, I really liked the topic, but it was like bright red, and I wasn't sure I was gonna enjoy that on my desk. And one of the ones that I liked the aesthetic, I just wasn't really sure if the message or the topic was right for me. So I ended up picking out one that was white. So I love the neutrality on my desk. And it's from the author who wrote the book No F's Given, Sarah, I can't think of her last name, but it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect for me. I love the messages that I get every day. I love that it's white. It looks great on my desk. And what I did was I ripped off the entire, here, I'll show you. It's in my desk drawer. I ripped off all of the prior ones in like one big chunk, like all of them, the days that already happened. And on days that I feel like I need a second one, like if I need an afternoon pick-me-up, I just go read one of these. I'm on like February 5th on these, just because there's just some days that I feel like I need a second one. And so I go rip one of those and look at one of those also and have more than one. So that is just something that I've been loving having on my desk, keeping me motivated, and just, I don't know, just a little something that I put off buying because I felt like, oh, I missed the mark. And if you don't buy this or you don't start this on the new year, that it's a waste and you shouldn't even bother. You should. It doesn't matter that by the time you're watching this video, we're already almost halfway through the year. If there is something that you want to start in 2021, it's not too late. So that is it for my favorites video. Let me know down in the comments if there's anything in any of these categories that you have been loving or favoriting this quarter that you want to share with us. I would love to hear about it. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday focused on helping you achieve your goals. Thank you so much for watching. Obviously we have such it is from John Hancock. John Hancock, really like it. But it's still things about like the life of living in New York. Breadstone, what? The thing I'm gonna talk about this month is, not month, and a cat who doesn't wear clothes, really Laken.